Hey, this is Toni Moore of tonimooreesq.com. Just wanted to have a real legal talk with regards to the fact that when you start a business, you are the boss of the business, right? Oftentimes, there are so many people who start a business because, let's face it, it's freaking easy. Anybody can start a business. I don't even fight with people when they start a business because if you just want to just start the business because your coach said start a business, or your cousin Vinny said go start a business, or you want to go to LegalZoom or whatever, that's your thing. You're sovereign in your selectivity, right? But at the end of the day, I need you to understand it's one thing to start a business and quite another to build it. I mean, sadly enough, so many people start a business and within 18 months, that business is done. They didn't make money. They formalized it, but they didn't legalize it. They didn't build up a team. They didn't learn more about marketing. Shucks, they didn't even have a business bank account. And so I'm like, so what was the purpose of quote unquote formalizing that business? What was the point of getting a corporation without a board? What was the point of having a limited liability company and you didn't even limit your liabilities? I mean, I know, like after, the whole crisis of the world, we were shut down with COVID-19. So many people are like, oh my God, if we had a limited liability company, we could have got some PPP money or some EIDL money. Yeah, not if you weren't already in business. That would have been illegal. You saw so many people go to jail for pennies on the dollar at the end of the day, right? Or there's so many people who started a coaching business, right? And all they know how to do is just tell their story and get people to the hump that they stopped at. That's not a business. Or some people are like, oh, you need a business, you need a NACE code, you need a Duns and Bradstreet number, you need to pimp out. They don't say it like that, but get business credit. You could start a business on Turo. You could start Airbnb, even though you don't have any property. You could start event planning business, or you can just rent out event space. Yeah, but what about the business side of the business, right? I spent so many years working with people on the business side of the business. I like the corporate side because generally speaking, they already have, people in place. They have advisors, they have accountants, they have corporate counsel, they have worker bees in place, right? They have marketing, they have sales. They pretty much know that there's even a legal structure that they have to maintain so that they can stay in business. Then when I talk to my peeps, who start something, and I get it. I'm a first-time generational wealth builder myself. I inherited poverty, and I did all of the things. I went from the projects to University of Penn, then I went to law school, and then I went to a law firm and was like, wait, is this it? You're pimping me out? I got to do all these billable hours and you're giving me like something equivalent to $15 an hour, even though I'm putting out like 2,000 billable hours a year, which is equivalent to like about 70 hours a week. Multiply that. That was a lot of work, and I didn't get a lot of stuff. So, like so many other people, I did what other people did. Forget this. I owe a lot of law school debt. Let me start my own business, and I pulled out a shingle. Now, luckily, I was able to work with some older attorneys who didn't want to do different things. So the next thing I was in family law. Then I found myself in tenancy court and bankruptcy court. Then I found myself in foreclosure court. And then I found myself back in bankruptcy court. And I was after a while, I was like, I'm not ixnay on it is nigh. So I went back to a law firm. So I get it. Then I did it again and I quit the law firm and said, freak the salary. I can do this on my own. Because after all, I am a rainmaker. I'm bringing in business. I'm bringing in money. I'm bringing in assets. People like me. They know me. They trust me, and so I started again. And this time I was a little smarter. I was like, okay, I picked and I chose who I wanted to work with. I started setting standards. I had billable hours. I had billable invoices. I actually hired someone to do some work for me, and I started to build a business. Now, sometimes when I get into conversations with people, they don't need all that. Boo. You got that hustling mentality in your spirit, okay? Especially when you're black and brown. Because oftentimes we don't have mentors. Or we do have mentors. The first mentors we ever had was someone we met in corporate who pretty much gave us tidbits, but they didn't necessarily mentor us to the point of from startup to succession planning. When you are starting a business, you have to understand that you have to have a startup plan. This is my startup plan. This is my solution. This is the process. This is how I'm going to make my profit. This is how I'm going to stay legal. This is how I'm going to protect my intellectual property. This is how I'm not going to lose out on my copyrights because I'm going to register them at copyright.gov. I came up with a creative name. People are getting to know me and like me and trust me. I need to file a trademark to register it, to restrict other people. Those are conversations that LegalZoom is not going to have with you, nor is your business coach. How do I know that? Because I'm meeting too many people who stay at entrepreneur. Entree. In the beginning, they're praying for something newer. And I'm like, it doesn't happen like that. I mean, as a God girl myself, you already know that faith without works is just merely a figment of your imagination. Faith without works. So you need to work. You need to have a plan. You need to work the plan. You need to even understand and appreciate it doesn't have to be the best plan. I mean, it's got to be a legal plan. Don't get me wrong. Just don't be starting with nothing and saying, let me see if it's legal. No. Oh, speaking of legal, don't skip the legal. That's going to be the name of this show. Don't skip the legal. Because when you skip the legal, you forget. You probably didn't learn it yet. But once you get your assets took from a litigator or a hater or regulator, you're going to learn very quickly never to skip the legal. So I'm going to do this real talk because that's all I know how to do. When you skip the legal, your assets will get got. Okay. When you skip the legal and you work with a big time influencer brand who really wants to work you, they really want your audience, a la ye. Okay. They want your audience so that they can pimp it out and market to it so they can make more money. Okay. If you're like, oh, I'm getting a record, guess what? They just want your copyright. They want your brilliance. They want your song ability. And if you look at the bottom line, even if they give you an advance, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to pay that on pennies of the dollar. Like 15-20% MSRP. Manufacturers, okay, suggested retail rate. And is only at 15 cents after taxes and after net. So you'll be with them for a long time. Oh, don't skip the legal, even if it's publishing. You're like, oh my God, Penguin Random really wants me. Yeah, they want your audience. They only want you because you got big enough to have an audience that they can pretty much market to so they can monetize your group, even if you're not. Or even with regards to Hypnosis Records. They have taught me very well because one of my clients was really upset that one of their bigger banger hitters became part of their library. But guess what? They didn't write the song. They just performed it. So they didn't really have any say-so as to whether or not someone was going to securitize their intellectual property. So when you skip the legal, you're like, oh, I don't have time for that. Oh, they're going to make me famous. Oh, yeah. They're going to pimp you out and they're going to own the stuff, the very thing that you can use to monetize your brilliance in business so that you can create your own wealth plan. Did I just curse you out? Did I say wealth plan? Because some kind of way, you're going to have to save some of that money for later. You're 25, 26, 30, 40. Eventually, you're going to reach, unless you die, 70. And where's that money? Because I got clients, celebrity clients, people all over the place on records, on shows or whatever. And most of them do not have a retirement plan. So I'm like, so what you going to eat when you get a little older and you don't want to work anymore? When your shine don't shine as much as it does anymore, because, all the songs that you sang, you didn't write. All of the lines that you parodied, you didn't write. All of the courses you didn't copyright. All of the awesome and amazing names when it was hot before it became marketable and genericized, you did not protect. So what you doing? So let's have that real legal talk right now. Because this is the real thing, is that here's the thing. There is no legacy without any legalities. If you didn't have that conversation, turn it into a documentation, have it negotiated and protect your assets, guess what? Whoosh, you make the money just like a sweat equity king or queen of strategy. And then after it's all said and done, the bills got taken away. The marketing manager took it. The person took it. Medicare took it. Medical bills took it. I don't know. Your advertisement, Facebook ads took it. Without a plan, you plan to lose at the end of the day. So to conversations, I want you to understand is I don't want you to skip the legal. I want you to put it in your brain that legal does not come, when it's time for litigation and someone is taking your assets or taking your Instagram account or taking your trademark name or ripped off something or ripped you a new one or didn't even say thank you when you came up with the idea, you came up with the keynote, you came up with the speech, you came up with the intellectual property plan, but you didn't protect it. I spent so many times trying to tell people don't skip the legal, and then they skip the legal, or they have a partner who skips out on them with their brilliance, their intellectual property, with their course, with their marketing plan, with their access to their people, or they skip the legal and they partner with someone who pretty much pimps them. They understand that they're dealing with a superstar and they laid back and they're waiting for their cut or distribution, and then when it's all said and done for the divorce, they want half. But guess what? You signed on a dotted line. You gave them 50-50, or you started you formalized, as so you thought, a business because, you went on, jumpstartyourbusiness.com, or you went on LLC, whatever, startup.com, and you just started it. But you didn't negotiate the contracts. You didn't understand that certain states don't even allow you to limit the access to other people's pocketbooks. They're like, yeah, they can work with you, and then they can turn around and pimp you. They don't say it like that, but they don't appreciate on the legal side when you have something and you're offering someone your brilliance to work with you. Then they turn around 30 days later, start talking ishnits about you on social media, and then they turn around and still take your stuff, rename the product, and make more money than you, because you skipped the legal. So today I want you to understand and appreciate that here's the thing. All those mega brands that you want that influencer contract, guess what? They're going to have you sign on the dotted line about, your influencer contract. It's probably going to be about 4 or 5 pages. And guess what? At the end of the day, they want it. Oh, yeah. You like LinkedIn too? Yeah. They pretty much are like, whatever you create for us, it's ours. Yeah, at the end of the day. So that's cool that you get a chance to be an instructor and everything else like that. But whatever you create for a bigger brand, it's theirs. Someone even recently asked me, oh, Toni, I work for a company and I work for a school, but now they want to utilize, my framework, my proprietary framework that I didn't register. I didn't even have a copyright registration for, and I did not even trade the name. I'm like, if you do that, they're pretty much going to exploit what you got like they've done for so many years. Don't let them do that. My thing is you create it, you build it, you register it, and you trademark the name, and you get known for it, and then you give people limited access to utilize it. Because when you skip the legal, when you don't pay, because it's not free, when you get that free legal consultation, that's usually what you see on TV after a motor vehicle accident, because they need to know if you're a liar and deceiver, and they're going to talk to you long enough. They're going to see if you got hurt and stuff like that. But when you're looking for legal strategies, don't skip the legal bill, because you pay, we slay. At the end of the day, strategy costs money. But as I tell my clients all the time, my fee is more than LegalZoom, but it's less than litigation. So here's the thing. At the end of the day, as the business owner, I always talk about boss legal moves because you have business owners' success strategies. So as a business owner, especially if you are a do-it-yourself wealthpreneur, such as myself, or a startup business builder with no mentor, and you are creating success from scratch, I want you to understand and appreciate that. Yes, you formalize the business. Go to Secretary of State. Don't go to some random place because it's cheaper or whatever. Because if there's ever a problem, guess where you're going to have to litigate? In the state that you formalize. And plus, even if you go to a random place, but you operate in another state, guess what? You're going to have to still file a foreign business entity. So you're going to have 2 states all up in your business as opposed to 1. Don't do that. Not only that, but I want you to legalize your agreements, right? You got a work for hire agreement, legalize it. You got somebody coming in and doing your logos, legalize it. You got someone creating your content because you skillful, but you're not artsy and masterful with regards to your brilliance. Guess what? Whether it's a ghostwriter, whether it's an independent contractor, guess what? You put it all in the contract, put it in writing. Okay. You're bringing in someone into your business. You want to make sure that, they don't disclose. You want to make sure everything becomes confidential information that they cannot utilize. Shucks, make it even a trade secret. That way that even if you're in a state that you cannot shut down your employees with a with different agreements, or you can't tell people that they can't, like a non-competition for independent contractors for even 6 months, shucks. In California, you can't even do it. But there's ways around it, because you're not going to give people access to your brilliance. And then you're going to just be like, they're just going to break you off a thank you, or barely that, when they steal your stuff. No, you got to be smart about the legal side. Even with regulators, once you start bringing in people, once you start thinking about, oh, I'm going to securitize this brand. I want to initial public offering. Oh, I want to turn this into like a mega chapters, and I want to have some associations. You better legalize that. Okay. Remember, there's one thing to formalize, and there's yet another thing to legalize. And even in the legalities of it all, you still have to build out a business. Look at all the businesses out there. They got an accounting department. They have a legal department with their general counsel. They have a marketing, sometimes the marketing and sales together. They have someone who is looking at the finances. They have something that's looking at the regulators. They have something who's building out the solutions and preparing and tweaking and also doing all of those things. If you're not doing that, it's going to be a problem. If you are thinking, oh my God, I can't do it all, then you need to appreciate that, because once you get that limited liability company LLC status, then yeah, you can build out your business plan, right? And then with the business plan, you're like, okay, this is the solution. This is the marketing. This is how I'm going to make my money. This is what I need to make at least the first $50,000. And don't play yourself short. With every vision, there's a provision, but you got to be committed to the vision. So committed that you love this vision so much that you legalize it, that you seek legal counsel, that you appreciate that there's steps, right? Appreciate that maybe as a worker bee, you never even looked around at the strategy of your company. And if you're thinking about jumping out and going from employee to CEO, I want you to start looking at your business. I want you to start asking questions, looking in the C-suite, see what they talk about. If they have some a development or some team development, leadership development, take those classes, okay? Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, when you start that business, it all starts and ends with you. All starts and ends with you. It starts with your mindset. It starts with your brilliance. It starts with your clarity. It starts with your judgment. It starts with how you start right so that you can stay right. Some people don't even start right. They just got started. But even if you didn't start right, in order to stay right, you got to get right. So if you need some help starting right or getting right so that you can stay right, feel free to contact me. tonimooreesq.com. That's tonimooreesq.com. Bye for now.